topic tonight is continuing education. This is a really important topic to me, and I'm really happy that I was asked to talk to the group tonight about it. Um, the trends that I'm noticing in the industry for the past 3-4 months is that there's a lot of challenges facing bicycle retailers, facing our industry in general right now. And I really think that having a good understanding of what a P&L is, how to forecast your needs, how to look at your services that you offer, refine your pricing structure, look at the logistics of your operation as a whole. All of those pieces are going to come first and foremost center the most important thing. So I keep referring to it as back to basics. It's not hard because there's so many, or it's not easy because there's so many hats we have to juggle right now in our industry. As a retailer, you're juggling the marketing aspect. You're probably running a website. You're handling all the communications with your customers, all the scheduling, vendor relationships, ordering, planning, all the logistics that go into it. You're expected to wear so many hats and do it all so professionally and dialed. It's a lot, right? How can we be great at so many things at once? So going back to basics, focusing on the things that will make us stronger business people is going to be really important. With many retailers having too much inventory, so on your mobile units, you might be selling as well. I know some people even set up outdoor displays or tents. When they go and park somewhere and sell stuff, you might be carrying inventory. You might have too much inventory. You might have cash flow issues. So understanding how to forecast and plan for your needs and how to work with vendors to pay bills on time is going to make us stronger retailers. I am fortunate enough that I get to sit with many retailers each week. I'm actually at a retailer meeting right now and talk through the issues facing them. And there's a lot of common threads. So a focus for us at the MBDA has been to see what those common threads are, what those needs are, and offer continuing education classes for retailers to opt to take part in should they wish. So we recently, just last month, launched some continuing education classes to our members, and we'll continue to add on that throughout the year. So the 2 classes that we just launched, number 1 is Marketing Boot Camp for the bicycle retailer. And part of these classes, what we've strived to do is partner with very professional instructors who are what we consider experts in their field, who have a long history and proven track record to deliver top quality classes to our retailers. So Bicycle Retailer Marketing Bootcamp is actually taught by a woman, Christina Brandt, who owns a marketing company. She's also co-owner in Steve the Bike Guy, which is a Northeast-based retail store. So she has this unique background. So she'll be teaching a class that's 6 classes, 90 minutes each, really dialing in marketing-specific items for the bicycle retailer. The reason that we wanted to set up our classes this way and not just a Zoom that you could opt to take part in, is we wanted people to commit to the 6 sessions so you'd prioritize the time. Because I know if you're anything like me, you say you're going to do something, it's on the calendar, it's important, and then life happens and it's really difficult, right? Because the to-do list or the day just gets away. But I feel like when you sign up for a class, you're committed to a spot, maybe it might get just a little bit more priority on that to-do list for the day. So that's why we decided to opt into a continuing education format for the classes. The second class that we've launched this year for the spring session is all about maximizing rider engagement through your service department, maximizing rider engagement and your profits at the same time. And for this class, we actually teamed up with Brendan Marquez, who used to work for Specialized Bicycles. He was lead in their SBCU program, and he's going to deliver a 4-session class based on dialing in all your service center operation procedures to actually wow your customers and make you a ton of revenue. So I'm really excited about his course. This is just the beginning. For the MBDA, we're going to continue to build on these continuing education courses, but there's a lot of other platforms that exist that I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to remind you of. And I think we spoke to earlier before we started recording that SRAM has a lot of opportunities available. So SRAM, through their tech support service center, they're going to be giving the MBDA, and I know retailers already have access to a full course list, and we're committed to putting on our website, on our continuing education page, we'll have a listing of all the SRAM courses. In addition, there's LEVA, so Light Electric Vehicle Association, who does e-bike specific training, which we've partnered with to offer discounts to retailers to take part in. The PMBA is a great resource. I know many people know about their courses. They're accessible right on their website. Zebra up in Canada for some more e-bike certifications, and then the U of Q. So if anyone is a quality, works with Quality Bicycle, then the U of Q offers opportunities as well. Continuing education, if you can make time for a dedicated class, is a great way to get the extra hands-on, professionally taught instruction that's available out there for retailers. If it's not through some bicycle industry organization, I would also suggest looking at some of your local colleges, and they're going to offer like adult continuing ed, and there's some great classes I know that exist around basic accounting or QuickBooks, even like social media marketing 101. So I would, if you're not going to do a bicycle industry class, I would also suggest that refining your skills through other things that are available to you is a great thing as well. I think that something that we all should do is continue to expand our mind and learn, and forcing yourself to take a class that'll take your skills to the next level is a really great way to do that. In addition, I was fortunate to just spend some time with David out at Cabda West, and I think he would attest to the fact that of just spending time with other retailers, talking about your wins and challenges is another great way to continue your education. So if you're not planning, or if your schedule will allow you to attend Cabda Midwest coming up next week, Cabda East coming up in the March time, there's some great education seminars scheduled for both those events. They're free to attend. Of course, you got to get there. But I can say that the educational sessions out at Cabda West were all very well attended, had some great Q&A at the end, and I think really provided some great nuggets for those who took the time to sit into those meetings. I think organizing opportunities just like this, where you're on Zoom or on a Facebook call, where you could just, and I know David's been in some of the events that we've done through the MBDA, where you can just share your wins and challenges in an environment with like-minded people who are facing the same issues that you might be, is another great way to continue your education. So, I mean, we can speak very narrow and very specific to the courses that we're offering, or that other like SRAM or Q or ABMA are offering, but also just the value of conversations that are with other retailers facing the same issues is a great way to continue your education. One other nugget to speak on as well, I mentioned your local community college. The MBDA, we will be offering some of these basic courses through a partnership with a company called Learn, and we'll be offering them at a discount to retailers. So we've negotiated a really great rate. So the basic like marketing, the basic QuickBooks, the basic social media, I don't know, what else can I say? The basic like inventory forecasting, these will be offered virtually as well. So a lot of great opportunities that are existing, that are coming around for our industry members, our bicycle retailers, mobile operators to take part in. And I think that I know that this is a time that we really have to hone our skills. Passion gets us really far, but also being able to dial in all the operations, understand what the P&L says, what it means, how we can best move forward is going to be an integral part of everything we're doing, as we continue to battle this, what I would say is kind of turbulent space right now. I'm noticing a lot of retailers are having issues with cash flow. We're seeing several brick and mortar locations closing or being purchased by some of the major brands. Some of this comes down to just not understanding how to forecast, not understanding, like for a mobile retailer, maybe how to plan your day or your route so you're being very efficient in your timing and your scheduling. It's going to come down to efficiency. Those are going to be our big wins. And then that unexpected wow customer service. So getting yourself set up so you understand how to be super efficient, how to dial in your marketing, how to reach new customers, how to get the right inventory, how to set your margins, how to set your pricing. understanding how much time it takes you to do a repair based on what you're charging and how much profit you make off of that. I know this sounds really elementary, but the conversations I'm having, not everyone understands how to get to these numbers. So continuing education, back to basics, really looking at the data in front of you in every regard and figuring out, the best course forward. How we communicate with our customers, email marketing is a big thing right now. And if you are hyper focused on it and you can take advantage of some of the education out there around how to most effectively use your email, how to most effectively collect customer data, that's going to be a big win moving forward as well. I know that we have some resources planned to help with effective email marketing. And there's some other, just if you went to like Ascent360, ascent360.com, that's a platform. There's some white pages on there, some blog posts. There's some really great information that it's, not a course that you have to sign up for. You could just read. That would be a great start to give you some more information forward on how to effectively use your email campaigns. So if you go out and you do a repair, you do a service, it's almost like you should be sending an email even before you leave, asking for feedback, asking for reviews, setting up the next appointment already. So using your email to effectively help you continue, build on your service you just did and plan for the next service already. And if someone, you can record into your database that this is a mountain bike or an e-bike. And then when you do an email campaign, you're only maybe sending an e-bike message to your e-bike customers. You can be very, very specific. That goes a long way too as customers' expectations are changing. So I could go on and on and on, but there's lots of education, and I want to stress the importance of it right now because I feel like too often we might charge $79, and I'm throwing out random numbers for an annual tune-up. Where really, if you did the numbers and you looked at the math of how much that what your operating expenses, what your time is worth, all the supplies, bundle it all in, you might only be making $20, and we want you to make a lot more. So it's figuring out how to analyze that information, and through the continuing education that's out there, I think you'll be able to get those numbers. So that my presentation wasn't showing anything; it was just talking about what's out there, the importance of it. And then I also welcome any questions. I'm fortunate, as I said, to sit with a lot of retailers, hear what their troubles, what their concerns are. And it's why at the MBDA for this year, we're really focusing on here's opportunities for you to learn to take your skills to the next level.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you getting us kicked off there. I know, well, before I continue, I'll say to everyone, if you're not aware, a little spiel for the MBDA, they do have now mobile memberships, which traditionally have not always been in place. So if you are curious about some of these offerings that Heather mentioned, there is a mobile membership that you can sign up for.
How much is the mobile membership?
It's $195 for the year.
Is it international, Heather?
Oh yeah. We partnered with we've Live to Play, OGC. I don't think we have any mobile specific members in Canada, but we do have about a dozen or 13 Canadian retailers who are part of our organization, and we're working with HLC to drive that. We actually have one of our P2 retailer groups that's meeting on that now, that's just Canadian focused. So we do spend a lot of time focused on meeting the needs of our Canadian retailers as well.
Okay. If for that membership price, you get full access to all the benefits, all the classes, all the everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, you're just you're a bicycle retailer just like anyone else is a bicycle retailer, right? We don't make, I think the MBDA used to, but I don't see the world like that. I see us all working in an industry that we're all playing a really integral role in. So yeah, you have access to every single thing that we do there's no difference in my eyes, yeah.
So like you just did one on the state of so like the classes wouldn't be an extra charge, or like there's no extra charges like for the cost of doing business and stuff like that.
So we do all of our webinars. There's a lot of stuff that's free that's included in membership, but that's all on the website. You can look at that. If you wanted to purchase the report, we offer free webinars on the cost of doing business report where you can learn and see it. If you wanted to, if you were signed up and you wanted to take part and do the cost of business, yes, you can do the cost of business. You're going to get, and that's no charge, you'll get a custom report based on your numbers that you give that compare it to the industry at large. No charge for that report. Let's say you didn't give your numbers and you just wanted to see the report, then you have to buy the report at special member pricing. But it's kind of like if you give your numbers in that regard, you can have access to that report. We try to make it really clear for our members. Yeah.
I can, David, here in Eastern Washington, I can attest to the NBDA value, honestly. When I had a brick and mortar shop a few years ago, more than a few years ago, I opted not to become a member. But with my mobile business, I saw they had a mobile membership option and took advantage of that. And I will continue, basically because the value that I've gotten out of it has paid for itself several times over in the 2 years of business. I actually wouldn't be on this group without the connections that I made by being a member. I met somebody that had a mobile bike shop and turned me on to this group. So, you know, I found it really invaluable. So I'm going to continue to do it, and I could recommend it if, you know, you find that that's something. I've only been in business a couple of years, not 11 years, but I can say that at least in the couple of years that I've been part of it, it's been really valuable.
Could you give a couple examples of specific things that you found valuable through the MBDA?
Absolutely. So my first year as a member, I found out about the Beeline fulfillment program. And that's something that I'd sort of been looking at, but didn't really know if it was going to be something that would work well for my business. And after talking to a few people with the MBDA who had other business references and could talk more in detail about it, I went ahead and went for it, and it's actually been a really good part of my business. That one specifically, another one specifically is going to be insurance. I do more and more e-bikes every year, and my underwriters at my local insurance that I can get are less and less enthusiastic about covering me. So having those resources has been really great, and also just seeing more information about like e-bike batteries have been a big deal. A lot of people ask questions about those, and I feel like the MBDA has been ahead of that curve. So not only do I have a recycling kit, but I also have an emergency kit and can give people a lot of resources when they ask me questions. If I order this bike, is it going to blow up on me? No. Mm-hmm. You know, so those are a few.
Great, thank you. Mm-hmm. So any other questions for Heather?
If I could, I've got a few questions that, with respect to like marketing our credentials. I mean, a lot of us have been through lots of courses, you know, e-bike like Bosch courses and bike fitting courses. And if you've been a Specialized dealer, you've probably been down to Morganville at least once. And down through the years, I've accumulated, you know, a lot of courses and a lot of credentials. And I'm never really sure exactly. I'm not sure whether this is within the scope of our talk tonight, but I'm never really sure whether, you know, exactly how to market that. You know, we'll be sticking that on the truck, or I mean, my business card's got a few things on it. Are we targeting the specific credentials to the specific customers when we're emailing them to get the next appointment? What's the approach?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've seen a lot of our retailers in our groups, you know, kind of navigate this and talk about what to do with that, specifically when it comes to their mechanics maybe certifications. But I think this answer would go along the same lines of what you're asking. We are the professionals, right? You are a knowledgeable expert in your field, so you want to do everything you can do to communicate that. The difference between someone choosing to maybe go someplace else to have their bike serviced or purchase something online versus come to you, they're going to come to you if you're the knowledge expert. So you really want to promote that. So I would say, yeah, you can do on your van, on your website is a great space. And in addition to the certifications that you also want to talk about those reviews that you're getting. You can even, show them on your homepage. You could do a scroll, but promote that positive feedback you're getting either on Yelp or Facebook or Google or wherever the feedback's coming from. You can also use your social media if you have a Facebook or Instagram account to talk about some of the certifications and talk about you as a knowledge expert. So you can maybe, if you have an image of the certifications, if you won an award for being best of something, in your town or city, talk about that and share that, because if you know, that's one thing, but if your customers don't know, that that's not a thing either. Some people have done press, so you could take, especially if you've got a certification that you're just getting, or maybe it's coming up on an annual anniversary of something, you could actually do a press talking about your business, talking about the certifications you have. Because say you go and you get, I don't know, SRAM certified, we'll just say that. It's not a big deal, but unless you think it's a big deal, unless you make a big deal out of it. So make a press release, talk about it, and then share it with your local chamber or your local newspaper, and they're gonna put it out there and promote it for you. You might as well talk it up, because to customers, it's a big thing.
Right, and I think you're right. I mean, if you've done dozens and dozens of them, as most of us have, you tend to, it just drifts off into the past kind of thing, and you've picked up some good networking on the day and maybe a little bit of knowledge, but otherwise it doesn't really go any further. Like, how does that day spent, make us a buck? And obviously, as you say, it's about talking it up and being excited about that thing that probably is exciting to the customer.
Definitely also put it on your business card. What we want, so say you go and you give someone really great service and they have a wow experience. You're now, if you give them 4 of your business cards, and don't be afraid to ask, if you had a great service, tell your friends. What that does, it allows your customer, the rider that just had the amazing experience from you, they get to be the hero now and tell their friends, oh, are you looking for a place? I have the perfect person to send you to. So set your customer up to be the hero. And so put those certifications on that card, because as they're bragging about you, and they're handing that card off, then their friend or their coworker is going to be like, oh, wow, yeah. And that's a big deal. That's a good moment.
Thank you.
Other questions for Heather?
Are you going to start up the mobile mingle again?
Yeah, so we have plans to. Yeah, it got we had 2 people showing up, so I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? But we do have it on the calendar. I think it's gonna be Friday mornings. It is coming back, but yeah, we did kind of pause it because we didn't have a lot of participation. But we do have our Monday mingles that continue to go on. So I've been inviting any of our mobile members to come to the Monday one, so at least we have something until we get them back on the calendar.
This was a topic that Sean and I had talked about doing with this group, but what do you think the impression of mobile operators are in the industry at large?
I think that's changed over the years. So I can remember back, I don't know, maybe 8-9 years ago, where I think Beeline was coming into it, and VeloFix, and maybe some retailers with brick and mortar started their own truck. It was, I don't know, it was like not really looked so greatly upon, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think mobile retailers are right up there with it, playing a very important role in what we do as an industry. I don't feel that there's any, like, the local retailer, I think, used to think that a mobile unit was maybe a threat to their business. I don't think it's seen as that. I don't have any of the brick and mortar specific retailers that I work with who talk negatively. They all speak positively. They feel like the more people we can get on bikes, the more people we can keep their bikes rolling, the better. So I think that it's even field. I think all that, like, really kind of negative energy is gone, and it's only met with positivity. And we need more bikes rolling and more people doing it. As long as it's presented in a professional, as long as we're all professional and doing great quality work and charging a fair amount, and elevating, I think, the professionalism in our industry, then everything's looking good over here as far as I can see. I would flip that back. What do you guys think? I'm interested to hear that.
I think in my region, everybody, I get along with all the shops and they respect me. I think I take a little bit of business from everyone, so no one is really hurt by my business too much. And everybody, I'm booked out a month in the summer, and most bike shops are booked out, who knows, like 3 weeks or whatever. So in my area, it's good. I was just curious at large, like, what do brands think, like, to sell bikes, or what do other bike shops in other parts of the country think?
I would say it sounds, I mean, honestly, I feel like everyone's, the retailers are super busy with repairs. I've been trying to focus retailers on getting repairs out the door within 48 hours if they can. So changing that mindset from keeping bikes for so long in the store to what if we get bikes back within 24 to 48 hours? What does that look like? And that's a hard ask, right? So no negativity. The more people who are out there keeping bikes rolling in a professional manner and representing our industry, I think everyone feels good about. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think in my area here, I have 5 bike shops within 20 minutes of me that I deal with each one of them. When I need parts and pieces, I do wheel builds for one of them. 3 out of 5 of them have had folks that used to work for me. And so, we know each other, and we all understand we're not talking billions of dollars here. You can't afford to piss everybody off. You have to get along. But it's just business. I mean, it's competitive. We all understand we're all, we're dividing up a very specific size of pie. So I think it really comes down to, for me, what role I'm actually playing. I have a lot of our existing customers from the store, from my original store, but I think largely I act as a safety valve for them, in the sense that I can do things quickly where they maybe can't, or they've been distracted from getting something done quickly. A store's a store. There's a lot of stuff going on. I think being able to focus, literally grab some work from them if they need to overflow. Being able to focus and get their customers' needs met, as important to them as getting a bike out the door off the floor. So I serve that role as well as having my individual customers. I'd say I do maybe 5% of work that I do is for the other shops, but it's still competitive, and you're only going to reveal so many how's business questions. You're only going to reveal so many answers because you're dealing with a competitor. But I think our customers like our specific approach to it, so they don't have to, for all the reasons we know about as far as what it's like to go to a shop and all the convenience and stuff.
Where are you located?
About an hour and a half, say, north of Toronto.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I would say that all the shops in my area, I know most of them even from before I opened business. So I have decent relationships with them all. Industry-wide, in the last 10 years, it's definitely shifted, but I still will encounter a person here or there that does not want to deal with a mobile operator, but it's certainly much, much better than it was a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started it, I think the 2 big things that have changed industry-wise was first, of course, Velofix coming into the area, and then, of course, MBDA. So Velofix changed things from the customer standpoint, because Velofix did the advertising for me, basically. Let them spend $20,000 a year on advertising, pumping it all through the region. all of a sudden people are saying, "Oh, wow, mobile bike repair. Let me look at that." So all of a sudden they're typing mobile bike repair into Google, and hey, I'm showing up instead. Cool. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
But the other thing that changed on the bike shop side of things, two things. Number one, being legitimized. When I first started, it was very, walking into a shop. Hey, I'm Dan. I do mobile. Oh yeah, how long have you been in business for? Oh, I've been in business 6 months. Okay, and it was like a dismissal type thing. Like okay, you'll come see me for a job in 6 more months when you shut down. So being legitimized over the years, going to these shops. Now all the shops in the area know me, and they realize I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
So that's been nice as far as my relationship goes with the shops. But on the industry side of things, having the NBDA also legitimize us compared to when I first started has been a big help as well. The number of companies that have allowed me to do business with them has gone up considerably over the past 3 years. Now saying that, I still can't get, Giant or Specialized or any of the big bike companies or anything like that. Something that's, it is what it is. But, being able to get nice wheel sets, having an account with 500-pound gorilla QVP, and being able to access quality parts for my customers and provide that service, that wasn't there when I first started. So it's really been nice over the past few years to have all that stuff come online. So, yeah, I think industry-wise, they're getting more and more accepting of us mobile guys. So
you joined the NBDA and then QVP opened up for you?
No, I was one of the first mobile guys with QVP. Actually, I joined QVP 5 years ago.
Okay.
So, and that was a 6-month ordeal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, are you?
We have been advocating to distributors the importance of expanding who they do business with. Yeah.
Right.
Well, thanks, Dan. It only took me a couple days with QVP, so thanks for your effort.
Yeah.
Trailblazer.
When I did it, it was several months back and forth talking to different reps, and finally I ended up sending a video of my truck, my warehouse, my whole operation to one of the managers there, and then they finally said, "Oh, you're not some kid working out of an old BMW, with a bike stand like on the back somewhere. You're actually a bike shop." I was like, "Yeah, that's what I do." So they finally, they still give me access to Surly or any of their, I can sell their BMX bikes, but I think it's nice being able to have access to parts. So yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Well, great. So I think Heather really keyed in on an important point here. Is that even when I first thought of this topic, continuing education, my mind instantly went to mechanic skills. But being mobile shops, we're not just wrenches, right? We're businessmen, and that really almost as much as our mechanical skills dictates our success. So finding these classes that help you with accounting, that help you with forecasting, that help you with social media, it's really important stuff. And I know the MBDA offers some bicycle industry specific courses in that area. I know personally, in my area, I've found similar offerings that are generic to all businesses, but looking at my local Chamber of Commerce, I'm a member of my Chamber of Commerce, so they offer classes on these types of topics pretty regularly that as a chamber member I can attend. They also hooked me up with a $5,000 grant this last year for social media. So I used that money to contract a social media company who worked on my social media with me. And it was basically instruction. They did some of it, but then showed me how to really use it to its full potential, which I don't have time to do as much as they showed me, but at least they pointed me in the right direction. Local small business nonprofits offer a lot of these classes for free as well. And again, they're not bicycle industry specific, but they're business oriented. So you can get the QuickBooks, you can get those types of skills through those places. So in your area, look for those organizations. And many of those are free, especially the small business nonprofits. Even if you've been around for a while, you're usually eligible because of how small we are. So check that out as well. Anyone else have places they found these types of educational opportunities? Dan?
So mine was a little unorthodox. So wintertime is our slow season, or at least it was for me. And the first few years I was in business, I had to take a part-time job in the wintertime. And what I would do is I would look for retail companies, not bikes, although I did work for REI a little bit, which is fun. But I would look for retail companies that that gauge heavily toward their employees towards sales. One place I worked was Cabela's, and that was a lot of what are you in for today? What are you looking for? What are your needs? What are your wants? And they train you. So why pay for training? Why why go through that when you can, on your off season, go get a part-time job working sales at one of these companies where they actually pay you to come in on their schedule and sit down and learn how to sell. Yeah. And you get tools. And then come spring, come February, March, when business picks up, you look and go, thanks, and you walk out the door. I haven't done that in a couple of years now, but when I first started, that was terrific. I had a sales background before that, but it was great. Walk in the door on a 3 to 8 shift at Cabela's. Great, where am I working? Oh, today, Dan, you're going to go up in the office. You're going to sit through some training. Oh, okay, that sounds great. So, so if you've got a slow season, if you're just starting out and you find yourself only working 2 or 3 days a week, why not? Let somebody pay you to get trained.
Yeah.
So just a little suggestion.
I've over the past couple of years, I've had my background is motorsports and tool and die before I started in the bike business.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a good combo for sure, because most of what you're doing in the tool and die and the machine trades is getting out of trouble, and what it's like to break a bolt off in a nice carbon bike, right? So you have to get out. You have trouble. So the interesting thing there is, although the place that I work for, it's a car parts place, and it's it's over the counter. They've got a healthy discount package for when we need personal stuff for our vehicles. So I stock up on oil and brake calipers and rotors.
Yeah.
Well, it just comes out in a different way. They're not really interested in training us. We kind of have to pick it up ourselves and have the initiative to go looking for it. But I think it just comes out in a different way. Sean, just before, I got this idea in my head. You mentioned that you joined your chamber and you got a $5,000 grant, and you channeled it toward social.
Yeah.
How far did it go? Can I ask? Did it go very far? Did you use it in a seasonal way?
It was over about 3 months, I want to say, that the company worked with me on social media. So at the beginning of it, they did a lot of it themselves and kind of told me what they were doing, and then as the 3 months progressed, the burden of doing shifted to me, and they were just kind of giving me guidance.
Okay. Was it bigger than you thought in terms of what they could offer?
No. For the grant, the scope of services had to be pretty specific as part of the grant requirements. So going into it, I knew what we were going to be covering, and I would say they covered everything I wanted them to do. And like I said, it was really informative and eye-opening. But I don't really have enough time. I use a lot of what they showed me, but some of what they showed me was so in depth that I need to hire a social media person who could do that.
Yeah.
Heather was talking about like email focusing emails to targeted groups. Like that was one of the skills that they worked with me on. and it's I definitely see the value in it, but I just don't have the time to do it. Being one or two person operations like many of us are, wearing so many hats. It's really eye opening and informative, and it can guide your practices in other ways, which I found useful.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to join the chamber, by the way. Yeah, on that note.
Any other ideas about kind of business skill education that people have utilized or accessed?
I did a lot of stuff over the years. I was a mechanic back in the 90s, and my hours got cut in the winter, so I went to the local YMCA and started working there. That opened up a lot of educational opportunities, as well as just a nice perk of a free gym membership. Yeah, which was really, I hate to say that was like the best part of it, but it kind of was. Eventually, I got into teaching spinning classes, which was just a huge plus for me in retail. And I have never understood how we in the bike business didn't capitalize on that, but I think that's the word, is that there's something about it. How did we miss that? Anyways, I've taught thousands upon thousands of spinning classes, and that got me free gym memberships at all the gyms. At one point, I was managing a performance store, and I was teaching, and I'm not kidding when I say this, about 20-25 classes a week. And there was an LA Fitness. There were a few of those stores in my area, and that was bringing a lot of business to the shop. I'd ride my road bike into class, swap out the pedals, I'd swap out the saddle. So it was unbelievable in terms of just being that guy. It was terrific. I managed that performance store, took it from 87th to #1 in the company, and a lot of anxiety. I didn't know how much fun I was having at the time. I wish I could do that right now, just be doing that same thing. But yeah, the fitness industry, there's a lot of certifications. I have a lot of ideas and opinions about certifications. I have a lot of certifications. I worked for a moment at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I can tell you this can sum it up. So get ready to feel the cognitive dissonance.
I love Dick's. They make me a lot of money.
That place was so bizarre. It was so I in the onboarding process, I became a Dick's Sporting Goods certified bike tech. And you can print a certificate and you can put it up on the wall. It's the most incredibly beautiful marketing. And I can't tell you how much that impressed me with certification and what it really means. For a lot of us, we don't feel real confident. But if you go through a certification and you invest your money and you get a certificate that you can put on the wall, that can make you feel a lot better. And I hate to say it, but you didn't need it in the first place. But a Dick's Sporting Goods Bike Tech 2, Level 2, got me $11 an hour. This was back in like 2015. It was, and it was a weird place. It was not a good place. I left there pretty quickly. But let me tell you how I got that certification. In the onboarding process, I completed a 25-question quiz with the opportunity of being able to use the computer screen. I was on a computer, so it was open book. 2 of the questions didn't have the key operative term in them, but my years as a mechanic, I was able to figure it out. So I passed the test, and that's how I became a certified sporting goods bike tech. You feel that? 25-question quiz, open book, onboarding. It was right after the anti-union video. glad to get out of there. But I would concur with what you said, like working other places. I like, if you really want to get your mind blown, I worked at the North Face at the retail store, the North Face, through the holidays, and I became convinced that every customer had an app in their phone that would cause the zippers to open up, because all you did was walk around zipping up zippers and talk about thermal layers. It was the most unbelievably simple retail for the most mind-blowing margins. Are you aware of the margins for this Vanity Fair?
No.
It's like 400%. And their consumers are so well. It was really kind of depressing. All the things you have to do you got to be a shoe expert, a helmet expert. You got to be a nutrition expert. You got to be a fitting expert. You got to be a machinist. There's so many hats you have to wear, like you were saying, Heather. And these guys are making all that money. It's mind-blowing how much money. They had a $400 single shell. It was pretty. It's like this white winter jacket on a half mannequin. $400. They sold all 5 of them out of their inventory, which didn't seem like a lot, but that in terms of inventory turnover, the back room was a mess. It was really, so it was interesting, and I would agree. Go in the off season, pick up part-time hours, and there's a lot to learn in the on-the-job training type situation like that. But yeah, the fitness industry was great. There's a lot of interesting, really cool educational stuff in the fitness industry that really helped me with my fitting certification. I was able to do fittings on the fly in the spin classes. I'd get off the bike a lot.
Yeah.
Walk around and interact with people. You can see when people are uncomfortable on the bike, and I brought tools. I brought a 14 millimeter, and so I would make adjustments. I'd take one of my favorite adjustments to make, which was you see somebody fidgeting on the seat. They're not comfortable, right? So I go over and I take one of the steps from the aerobics class that's back in the corner, bring it over there. While they're riding, I'd have them ride, and I'd say, think about climbing a hill, add the resistance, and I'd slide the step block underneath the front. The bike tips up a little bit, and I'd say, how do you feel now? And they're like, well, that's comfortable. Like, okay, we just turned the seat nose up. And they're like, wow, it was mind-blowing. So I'd put the bike back level, have them get off and make a quick adjustment with the 14 millimeter. And then they were fine, and they could be informed. And that taught me a lot about bike fitting. So there's a lot of places to get wisdom like that. That's good stuff.
All right,
Real
great.
Quick, I gotta ask.
Oh yeah.
Real quick, I'm sorry, off tangent. Spin studios. How many of you guys are going into spin studios and servicing those bikes?
Not me.
Why not?
Got my hands full. Other stuff.
I've got 3 studios I hit once a month.
Well, I'm not saying I haven't considered it. I'm just saying I'm just so busy.
How many bikes do they have in their studios?
2 of them are smaller. 2 of them are, I think, 20 bikes.
Okay.
And then one's a Gold's Gym. So it's a big one.
What do they got, 25, 30?
At least 30.
30, okay.
So, yep.
Lifetime Fitness has got this massive staircase-like studio with 60 bikes in it. But I think they're all in-house with their stuff.
Yeah, they've got techs.
Yeah.
I've got one of those near me too.
Yeah. But I
As
mean,
long as they're paying you properly, I mean, what the heck?
right.
Absolutely.
But if you teach a class and you can get in front of 60 people, that's better than bike racing.
Yeah, man.
Like, if you're wearing a shop jersey and you're teaching a spinning class in front of 60 people, do that 20 times a week. I mean,
You're inadvertently bringing that information. You're being the supplier of information,
that's
right?
right. That's
What
right.
Evan's mentioning.
Yep.
So the business comes to you.
That's right.
And the nice thing about it is all those people in spin classes talk to each other. So you just have to service 1 or 2 of them, and they'll be your trumpeters. They'll just tell each other about you. You won't even have to say a thing.
Yep. That was my experience back in the day. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about continuing education for mechanical skills, which is a little bit more obvious than some of the business skills that Heather was talking about. So SRAM came up earlier. SRAM offers online training similar to Shimano. online videos with many of them have short little tests after them that you can take without even having a SRAM account. You don't have to have a SRAM account to be able to access them. And they do also offer in-person training as well. At the beginning of the call, not all of you are on, but Todd and I are heading to Indianapolis in March for an in-house SRAM training, 3-day not certification, but training program. And they offer a couple different levels about a couple different topics, and I'm sure that'll grow. They just reinstated that after COVID. So that's an option. Shimano has an online training program, which I think you need to have some sort of account with Shimano. Am I right in that, Heather? Do you know?
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
Because that was, or can you go through Spark?
It is through Spark, but to gain access, I think you have to have some sort of account with Shimano. Yeah.
You can request, if you're an independent mechanic, you can request for access. I've gotten it and also not gotten it in my history of mechanics. So this time I do have it, and I don't think I'm a dealer because I don't have any of this information through QBP.
Heather mentioned.
One thing with Shimano S-Tech, if you get.
No, go ahead, Todd.
If you continue through S-Tech, if you get to 75% of the modules done, you can opt to go to Irvine, California for additional classes. They're still like COVID hold for that, but they do have like more in-depth classes like in California.
Heather mentioned LEVA, the Light Electric Vehicle Association, I think it stands for. We are doing a meetup with them. Todd, do you remember the date off the top of your head?
No, February.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
It's on the. It's set up as an
something?
event. So if you look at the Facebook page, it's on there. Heather also mentioned CABDA. There are oftentimes training sessions set up at those, which some have been set up by the PBMA, which I don't know if everyone's aware is kind of on hiatus / non-existent now. It's kind of unclear what their status is. Heather, I don't know if you know anything more about it. It's kind of a gray area. I know at least one person posted up on the PBMA Facebook page that their application, their membership got sent back. So PBMA isn't even taking money from people, which is usually a bad sign that when they stop taking money. So I don't know going forward what the status of that organization is going to be.
So I was talking to James, and Jenny quit. She was the president, and then she was only in it for I don't know, a year maybe, and then she quit. So it is really just kind of not going anywhere. And James kind of like stopped the auto pay or whatever, the auto renews. He stopped doing those. So that's what's going on, pretty much. Not too much.
It's a shame that their tech workshops that they did. I attended the one in Dulles. Was it 3 years ago before COVID? It was a multi-day thing where SRAM, Campy, FSA, Enduro, Ruckus Composites, all sorts of different companies showed up, and it was multi-hour courses, and it just got every day nonstop going. And the amount of information I got during that workshop was amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that I'm hoping that it can be carried on somewhere else, and continue that. Like I said, I had no experience. Like FSA's electronic shifting system. Who's worked on one of those before? You're lucky.
But I went to that class with PBMA, so I knew what I was doing. I said yes. That's why.
Yeah. So it's like without that class, I wouldn't know what to do with that stuff, and the amount that I learned from Enduro on bearings and things during that. So it's a shame that they're not around, or they kind of pulled back on that stuff. I really hope that comes back, because I was hoping to be able to go to more of those.
We do have an affiliation with U of Q because we used to own BBI, and I did meet with the Q team last week to talk about possible things that we could bring forward for mechanics training and certification. So to be determined, but we are trying to work on some additional resources there because we do see that there is a hole that we'll need to bring some resource into. So hopefully I'll have more to share soon.
Anybody heard anything on the is it the BIEA, the Bike Industry Employers Association?
I haven't even heard of it.
Okay, I think they were putting together some education, and we're trying to get it through community colleges, or I think they have it someplace in Minnesota and someplace out in
Arkansas.
Right. And shouldn't we change the name of that town to like Walmartville or something? I mean, isn't that why we're all going out there? After Walmart money, right? I mean,
Yeah.
those guys are spending. There's a couple. What is it? A couple of cousins or nephews or something that are cyclists, and they bought Rafa, and they're like, they're like the what? I mean, right?
Yeah.
They love to spend money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Rafa. They're practically cyclists.
They're doing a lot of good for the sport, though, you know.
Right. It's like crazy.
I mean,
It's like
they were
that's where you want
they
to
were
go.
kind of instrumental getting cyclocross nationals there, and
Right.
like trail, like local trails, and
Yeah.
doing a pretty good job, really.
One other, real quick before we skip over it all, one other business resource that I want to point out to you guys, since we've got Heather here with us, is and the whole reason why I joined the MBDA last year was her podcast that she does. So if you guys listen to podcasts, the amount of business information I've gotten from that podcast over the past year has been terrific. Like Heather's wearing a Club Ride jersey right now, I noticed. I actually shot an email over because she talked to the Club Ride, the owner of Club Ride, on this week's podcast. Because I'm looking for team jerseys for myself. And I was like, I don't want to do the stupid Lycra stuff. And then I heard that, and I was like, oh, wait, they do custom ones? So I sent an email over there. But she does 2 podcasts a week. So don't forget to check out those podcasts if you guys. It makes drive time go past quick. I mean, that's all I listen to while I'm driving between appointments. So
Sorry, Dan, what podcast was that again?
the MBDA podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I didn't know you had one. That's cool. Yeah.
Bicycle Retail Radio. We stream on Spotify and Apple. There's like 8 different platforms, and yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to do, and we try to bring people to the mic that'll share a good nugget and also just give you like a glimpse of what's going on in either their brand, or we bring a lot of retailers. Actually, Dave's going to be on the podcast. We wanted to just increase what we're doing to highlight our mobile members, and we thought we would bring Dave on to. We're recording in a couple months or sometime soon. It's on the agenda.
It's like end of March or something. Yeah.
Wait, that's awesome.
And not to dissuade anyone from joining the MBDA, but you can listen to the podcast and not be a member.
Okay.
Because I've listened to some as well, so not to give it away.
So is Club Ride a clothing manufacturer?
Yeah, they do technical, like non-Lycra. So from the trail to the coffee shop or to the office or to drop.
that's cool.
Well, yeah, some of
Yeah.
my favorite stuff.
What's their?
They do good stuff.
Do they do customs and do they have? I'm just hoping that the minimums are going to come down on the custom stuff.
Yeah, I think you have to do, is it 20 or 20, or it might be 20 pieces to get custom. But Mike is a really great guy. It's semi-custom, so it's just basically taking your logo. I would shoot him a note, ask. I mean, he's a really nice guy. He's, he's making a go of a business that's been around for a long time. He actually handles every shipment. I don't think it would hurt to ask. He might have something. He works with a local person who does the embroidery, so he might be able to do something.
Yeah, I looked at it. He's got a minimum order of 24, but it says on the website that if you need less than that, you shoot them an email and they'll see what they can do.
There you go.
So cool stuff.
Any
Gotta
other
have kit.
mechanical educational resources people have utilized that they want to share?
The only other thing I want to say is whatever brands you sell, go to their website, go to their portal. Everybody's got stuff out there. When I pick an item, that's usually what I keep on the truck. That's usually all I push, like dropper posts and grips, is P&W. So when it comes to P&W, you go to their dealer portal, and for their dropper posts for service and repair, they've got videos and how-tos and everything for all of their gear up there. Same thing with box components, which I do driveline, and that's what I push for driveline and their wheels and BMX stuff. You go onto their dealer site, and they've got videos and instructional stuff for all their parts to service it. So whatever company that, if you've got an account with somebody, if they don't have instructional help for your technicians or for you, ask them why not. They should. Everything, like the stealth technology on box hubs. I wouldn't know what to do without the videos on that. Going into those, or opening up a P&W dropper before seeing that stuff. I'd be worried about a bomb going off in their van. But it's actually really easy, it turns out. But I wouldn't know that without the videos that they put up there. So if you sell a technical part, derailleurs, components and stuff like that, things, check the sites. And of course, on Shimano and SRAM, make sure you've got the app on your phones.
Yeah.
If you don't already, because those will walk you through everything.
Apps, apps is key. There's a. Do you guys have the app for the the skates, carbon?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's terrific.
In there fucking adult for frequencies. Nerdy as hell.
That's good. You look like a real, I don't know, wizard when you got that. Well, I think manufacturers have to provide education with their product. Is anybody? I don't know if I have that right. I believe that's part of the liability in manufacturing, is that you have to provide technical education. And that was my experience as a mechanic, working my way up to a service manager back in the 90s. I had really good relationships over the telephone. It was on the wall. But having really good communication with the, like you're saying, to your point, to the manufacturers, absolutely,
I usually try to carry an iPad on the truck just for that purpose. If I need to load up a video for something that I do not have much experience with, an iPad screen is much easier to use than a phone.
That's kind of a really big cell phone. Mr. Practice.
I found with working with Bafong, I've had to do a lot of communication with them and work with other websites and just research in order to figure out. I mean, it's one of the reasons I got LEVA certified a while ago, is because they don't have a ton of resources for working on their stuff. But I've built up being able to program some of their units and work on their hubs now. But that took a little while, so they definitely are not too free about giving out much of their information. So that's when I found that was challenging anyway.
Okay. Because engineers don't like to give that stuff away.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like product and engineering, they don't like marketing people. You want to go tell them about this stuff?
Yeah.
Heather, could I circle back to something that you said at the beginning? You had two classes. There was a marketing boot camp, and then there was Max Rider engagement. Is that available now through the MBDA?
Yeah, so the marketing boot camp starts February 3rd, so pretty soon. The rider engagement one starts February 16th. And the rider engagement is really, it's how to maximize your profits through your service department. So making sure that we've got a great service menu, the intake, the efficiency of your repairs. So just making sure that you're really writing up those repairs to their full potential, how you communicate with the customer between when you take the bike in, I don't know, you're probably, but yeah, that whole process. I don't know if you're taking bikes back with you and delivering them, or if you're doing the work right there, but it's that whole process of the communication. That's what that's about.
Okay.
Point of sale.
Are there caps on those classes, Heather? Enrollment caps?
The marketing one has a 20, and I think that one has 15 people now. The service department doesn't have a cap on that one.
That's interesting stuff.
Any?
Thank you.
Really quick on the mechanic education out here. This area in Oregon, we have United Bicycle Institute in Ashland. So if you don't mind paying for travel, there's a great little hostel that's just not even a stone's throw. It's right next door. That is a great place to stay, and they offer a wide variety of classes, and it's always a good place to go. And Ashland is not the worst place to mountain bike or bike, so that's a good one too.
Good
Bring
point.
your rain gear.
All right. Well, any other questions, comments, things you want to get off your shoulder? Gripes? Airing of grievances? Well, thank you everyone for attending our first
No, this has
meeting.
been great.
Our next meeting is scheduled for 2 weeks from today, the 13th, February 13th. That's the actually LEVA one. So we'll have a guest speaker from LEVA presenting on their program and what their offerings are, and a general e-bike conversation as well, probably. So we hope to see many of you there. Again, thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your evenings.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks, Heather.
Together.
Thanks,
See you
thanks
guys.
everybody. Thanks, Heather. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks a lot.